welcome to English We Learn. Have you ever wondered why some people speak English with high accuracy, even as they are not native speakers? How is it possible? And what's the secret? And today, the answer you seek is here, the sounds of language, and more technically, is phonetics. So, what does phonetics mean? It is the general study of characteristics of speech sounds. And many people still confuse phonetics with its friend, phonology. Are they the same, subfields, or the two different fields? The answer is they are two discrete fields. While phonetics is about actual physical articulation, its friend, phonology, is about abstract and mental aspect of the sound. And today, we just focus only on phonetics. Phonetics itself includes three main branches: acoustic phonetics, auditory phonetics, and articulatory phonetics. First is acoustic phonetics, which deal with physical properties of speech. For example, sound wave, intensity. Sounds a little bit physics, huh? Second, auditory phonetics is the perception of speech, obviously by ear. Third, articulatory phonetics is how speech sounds are made through physical properties, and that's also the branch that we focus today. So, first we'll talk about consonants, and there are three aspects to describe consonants exactly. First is voice or voiceless, called voicing. Second is place of articulation, and the last aspect is manner of articulation.
But to understand these three aspects, let's familiarize yourself with these humans' oral and nasal cavity. Let's begin from the bottom. This part is called the larynx or voice box, which contains many vocal folds inside. Vocal folds or vocal cords, they are groups of muscles. Next, go a little bit upper is the tube called pharynx, acting as a resonator. Now come to the upper part of the mouth. The closest part to the pharynx is called velum or soft palate. Next is the roof of the mouth called the hard palate, and the forefront called alveolar ridge.
The first aspect to decide whether the consonants are voiced or voiceless is to look at the vocal folds. If vocal folds are spread apart, the air from the lungs passes between them with no obstruction, producing something called voiceless sound. But if vocal folds are drawn together, the air from the lungs repeatedly pushes them apart as it passes through, with vibration effect, producing voice sounds. Second aspect to a consonant is called place of articulation. Place of articulation refers to where in the vocal tract the contraction of airflow takes place. Bilabial sounds are produced with both lips, like p. Labial dental sounds are produced with the upper teeth and the low lips, such as f. Dental sounds are produced with the tongue in between the upper and the lower teeth, such as f, z. Alveolar sounds are produced with the tongue at or near the ridge right behind upper the front tooth, such as t, s. Palatal sounds are produced at the hard palate or the roof of the mouth, such as sh, j, y. Velar sounds are produced at the velum or soft palate, such as k, g. Glottal sounds are produced at the glottis or the space between the vocal folds, such as h.
There are 6 manners of articulation. The first way in which we can obtain a consonant is the one that we have just talked about. We let the pressure build up in our mouth by closing both our lips. We block the airflow and let it go in a burst, so we obtain the so-called stop consonants. An example is the sound B in bed. The second one is nasal consonants. By lowering the velum, letting the air flow out through the nose. An example of this is the sound M in morning. Another way of producing consonants is when there is a continuous friction in the place of articulation. The air comes out in a turbulent, noisy way, and these consonants are called fricatives. For instance, the sound F in fate. Another manner of articulation is halfway between the stop and the fricative consonants. These consonants are called affricatives. For example, the sounds ch in cheap. When our tongue is raised and curled, let the airflow escape through the sides, we produce the liquid consonant. An example of this is the sound R in road. Lastly, when we move the tongue to or from a vowel, we got the glitch consonant, such as W in want.
And now, let's move to vowels. There are two criteria that linguists use when describing vowel. They are height and vagueness. We have to rely on a different set of criteria for what we used in describing consonants, because remember, vowels do not involve the constriction of airflow in the vocal tract, so our tongue doesn't approach an anatomical landmark like they do with consonants. Let's talk about each of these in turn. Height refers to how low or high the tongue is in the mouth when producing the vowel. Vagueness refers to how far, front or back, the tongue is when producing the vowel. As with vowel height, this can be tricky as it takes some practice, but consider the vowels I and U. If you say these vowels in succession, you may notice that your tongue is moving forward and backward as you say I, U, I, U, I, U. In terms of vagueness, vowels are either considered front, central, or back. Remember that I is a high vowel, but is also a front vowel, while U is a back vowel.